You're listening to She's the Business podcast.
Sales pages. Well, I think as soon as you hear the word sales, you immediately start thinking sleazy or cheesy or just ick. Yes. However, if you want to sell anything online at all, whether it's a program, a service, a course, a membership, just anything on your website, then yes, you need a sales page. And a good sales page converts sales and customers, whereas a bad sales page, well, we all know what happens there. So what is the difference between a great one and one that's not so great? And how do you get a sales page without the cheesy, sleazy feeling? Yes, it is possible, and it's not some sort of magic, and it doesn't need many, many years of trial and error to get there. We've got it all coming up for you in today's episode, so please stay tuned.
Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and in my 23 years of business and marketing, I've built many brands to become multi-billion-dollar companies. And just in the last 10 years, I've built 2 online businesses of my own from my dining room table with 2 little babies running around at my feet. I've made it my mission to inspire you to get out of your own way and become the successful business owner who's living the lifestyle you really desire without all the hustle. This is She's the Business podcast, made by women for women. This is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration.
Now, it's kind of funny that just a moment ago, I told you to stay tuned for today's episode, because today my special guest is none other than the amazing Toon herself. And her group of companies is called Stay Tooned, a little play on her last name. Kate is an award-winning entrepreneur, and she works with small businesses and big brands to transform their online presence through powerful SEO, captivating content, and all the right digital marketing moves. She's a bit of a no-nonsense, talk straight person, which is why I love her so much. And you may have heard of her through some of her better known sort of business brands, such as the Clever Copywriting School, the Recipe for SEO Success, or her Digital Master Chefs, which is an online membership. Now, Kate is an author, a speaker, as well as the entrepreneur and the founder, the head of all of those companies. So she has a lot going on. But today we're deep diving into a topic that we both have a lot of, what would you call it? A lot of passion for, I guess. And that is the topic of an online sales page for your program, your service, your product, whatever it is that you're selling on your website. The sales page, particularly when it's a digital product, it's super, super important. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong on a sales page too. So we cover what are some of the biggest mistakes that we see being made on the sales page. Now, Kate shares her special formula for how you craft that page and how do you actually get the right flow of content so that your clients, your prospects can understand what it is that you're offering and why they want it, what's involved, what they're going to get out of it. You're really going to want to hang around for this episode because there's so much value provided. It's an incredible interview. Kate is an absolute wealth of information, as she should be, having had so many online businesses, her audience of well over 20,000 people in her online community. And she has sold millions of dollars worth of digital products through her own businesses. So you're definitely going to want to stick around and listen to what she has to say about the sales page. And I hope that you've got a pen and paper out so you can take some notes. If you're driving, don't worry, you can play this again later because no doubt listening to it another time, you're going to get even more learning and insight from this episode. It's an absolute cracker. So without further ado, let me play the interview for you. Hey, and I'm here with the lovely Toon. She's the founder of Stay Tooned, which is incredible. I cannot believe that we're finally meeting face to face, as it may, because I've seen you around for so many years and you share such amazing and I think different perspectives on marketing and business. And so I've been really looking forward to this episode with you. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you. Well, I've been stalking you. We were just talking about this before the show. I've been watching your lives, and you get to the point where you feel like we're just mates. Do you know what I mean? So we started this podcast just like, hey, how you doing? It's like, oh, actually, we've never met. This is weird. But it's funny, isn't it? We all know each other online, but it's really nice to put faces to names and names to faces.
Yeah, it definitely is. And if any of my listeners have not come across you, which I'd be very surprised if they haven't, but do you want to tell us a bit about, what you do and who you serve, just so we have that for anybody new?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. My business is called Stay Tooned Inc., and it's a collection of 3 different businesses, really. One, which is the Clever Copywriting School, where I teach copywriters how to be better copywriters. The Recipe for SEO Success, which is all about teaching people how to grapple Google and get more traffic and more conversions. And then finally, my private membership, which is called the Digital Masterchefs, which is a kind of holistic digital marketing support membership. So yeah, those are my 3 things. I got podcasts, conferences, written a book, various other bits and bobs, but yeah, that's my main beast.
Yeah, amazing. And I love how those are sort of 3 distinct things, but they're also very connected as well, because as you would know, SEO, so much about it is great copy and content, and then that all filters into digital marketing as well, because they are all one and the same. We need to be having our fingers in all of those pies. So that's awesome.
I mean, the reason why they're 3 separate businesses is not through any kind of glorious strategy. It's just that I started them all at different times. And at that point, I was a bit nervous about branding as myself. So I made up all these sub-brands. If I were doing it all again, probably I'd keep it all under Toon. But hindsight is a wonderful thing. So they're all, as you said, they're all interlinked, they're all similar, but they're distinct for some bizarre reason, if you see what I mean.
Oh, that's great. And today we are talking about, I think one of my favorite topics as well is, sales without the cheese, and specifically the sales page, because, that's really for digital online businesses. That's where people are finding us. That's usually the point of sale, the last point of call, even if they've been following you for ages on your social media, you've got them across to the website. The sales page, whatever format that may be in, if you've got a digital product or maybe even just a service that you offer, that's still where they're going to reach out to you. So super important to have a great sales page.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said it's kind of the final step. It's like the last minute before they hand over their credit card details. And that's so important, because although we're going to talk about sales pages today, as you just mentioned, it's everything you do before that gets them to the sales page. You can't expect the sales page to do all the work. Even the most beautiful, well-written, exquisite sales page isn't going to work unless you've warmed them up a little bit before you get there. So yeah, the final step in the path.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I really love, is thinking that somebody already wants this thing. They already want to buy from you before they're even hitting the sales page. And all you're doing there is ticking the boxes, actually just, addressing all of those little like niggles, or the what if, is this really the right thing, which we all naturally think, even if we think we want something, we've still got those. So, the real role of the sales page there.
Yeah.
So, I think the first thing is, we would hear the word sales and it's like, especially women. And we both would know that, being that we're women, we're in business, selling and feeling like you have to sell. That means talking about money, and it's all been a bit taboo. And then you feel like, if I'm selling, I'm really selling this. Am I being sleazy? And I don't want to be perceived as sleazy. So shall we talk to that first? Like, what's your view on how do you kind of get comfortable with selling?
Yeah, well, I'm going to drop a real bomb here, and it's mind-breaking, mind-shifting, yeah?
Okay.
People like buying stuff. Yeah? You might not realize this, but we all like buying stuff. We want to buy stuff. We feel like we need it. We want it. So, we shouldn't feel bad about selling things to people who want to buy things. Yeah. The classic line is, if someone had a disease and you had the cure, you would feel no qualms about giving them the cure or selling them the cure, Yeah. And if someone has a problem and you have the solution, well, you're helping them. Yeah. So we've got to get over this fact that we're selling to people who don't want what we're giving them. If we're trying to twist arms and manipulate people and push people and use FOMO and fake scarcity and all those dodgy tactics, which we'll touch on today, then you should feel a bit ick about selling. But if you're simply putting your product out and saying, this is what it is, this is how it helps you, this is what it includes, and this is what it costs, people can either say yes or no. Yeah, there's no reality there. There's no bad vibes there. So people like buying things, and exactly to what you just said earlier, by the time most people get to your sales page, they're looking for affirmation that the purchase choice they're about to make is a good one. They want the last few creases ironed out, the last few pain points overcome. Maybe they're concerned about a particular aspect and they just want to double check that. Then if the price is right and the timing is right, they're good to go. So I think it's about realizing that you're not persuading people who desperately don't want to buy something. They're probably 95% of the way there, and you're just giving them the information they need to make a final choice.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I think it's something I talk to a lot is if they're not right for your product or service, they're not even going to be there in the first place. They're not interested. So you're not coercing anybody into buying anything. You're actually just inviting them. It's like they're in the trench or they're falling down a ditch and you've got the olive branch and you can reach down and help them out of it. Well, are you just going to stand there with that branch in your hand and not reach down and help them out? Well, that would be a disservice. You're actually helping them, even though, yes, there's money that's going to exchange hands, but it's just money. Like what you're doing, what you're offering to them is of value, and there's just an exchange going on. You're going to help them get out the ditch and they're paying for it, and that's absolutely fine. So we just have to get comfortable with what I'm doing. The right people are going to buy because that's what they need, not because I've convinced them or tricked them into buying something that they don't need. Those people aren't even there in the first place. So, yeah.
And I think, there's this sort of misrepresentation of sales. We've all seen the infomercials on television selling us the latest vacuum or whatever, and they aggressively push and they use a lot of kind of really hardcore sales tactics like scarcity and repetition, and they really get you to the point where you're almost frantic to ring that number and to buy that thing. And then immediately those kind of people, they buy the thing and they get buyer's regret. And often that's where the refunds come in, that's where the complaints come in, and we're not trying to be that. We don't need to do the hard sell. We don't do the soft sell either. We are doing a medium sell. We are trying to sell something, but we don't need to be nefarious about it. And I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. And I think that, something else that helps people as well to kind of go, okay, it's all right, I'm okay, is a sleazy person is a sleazy person regardless of whether they're selling something or not. So a sleazy person that then sells, they're going to be a sleazy seller, right? But if you're not sleazy...
How do you know whether you're sleazy or not? It's like the classic line from Harry Met Sally. Everyone thinks they've got a good sense of humour and great dress sense, but they don't. So maybe some people don't realise they're sleazy or they haven't got anyone to call them out. But, it's like there's a great book called The Psychopath Experiment by John Ronson, The Psychopath Test. And it's like, if you even think about the fact that you're being sleazy, you're probably not sleazy.
Exactly. Yeah. The fact that you're worried about it means that you're not. And that's what I say to my clients. I'm like, look, the fact that we're even having this conversation, if you're worried about being sleazy or greedy, that's because you're neither of those things. Like a greedy person doesn't worry about being greedy. They just are. A sleazy person, again, doesn't worry about being sleazy because they just are. They're just being them. And the fact that you are concerned about it means that you're not. So let's just drop all of that and move on. Move forwards. Let's get into the actual what's in the page. So yeah, what about, I think something, coming from a marketing background, we've always been taught, well, you talk features and benefits, advantages. I think that there's a lot of lacking in this, as in a lot of people are really trying to sell a product or a service on features. Even with benefits, sometimes they're actually a feature. So people think, oh, this is a benefit. But when they're talking about the benefit, really it's a feature. So is that something you want to dive into? Because I get a bit, I think I'm like, maybe I go to the nth degree on this in terms of like really understanding the copy. But what do people need to know about features and benefits, advantages?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the number one thing to say is you don't lead with them. So there's a few steps we've kind of missed before we get to features and benefits and advantages. So we might go back to them in a minute. If you're thinking about a physical sales page, they're going to come somewhere around the middle of the page. Yeah. So before you can tell you what's included, you have to explain what it is, who it's for, you have to introduce it and all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to features and benefits, you're right. I love the fact that you mentioned features, benefits, advantages. So, the feature is it's a blue plastic thing. Fantastic. And the best question to ask then is, so what? Well, the fact that it's blue means that it blends in with this, that, and the other. The fact that it's plastic means it's lightweight. And then you ask again, so what? It's lightweight, which means you can pack it in your bag and it's not going to weigh you down. So you can use it all day long. So what? Well, that means, by the end of the day, you're not going to be exhausted and tired because your blue plastic thing has helped you, whatever. So the so what question really helps you go to the end of the line. And at the end of the day, when we think about selling, we have to come back to some core human principles. All humans at the end of the day want to be safe. They want to be happy. They want to be loved. They want to be in their knickers watching Netflix and eating crisps. At the end of the day, that's what we all want, whether we admit it or not. So how does your product get me all the way past all those things to the end result? The classic line is people don't buy drills, they buy holes. But they don't really buy the hole. They buy the shelf up quickly and get on with doing something they'd rather be doing instead. So if you're always thinking, how does what I sell get people to be happier, get people to feel safer, get people to feel clever, get people to feel relaxed, I think that can help you push your benefits and features to a meaningful and insightful point of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people will be like, oh, you get, if you're selling a membership or something, you get, a call a month. Great. So does that.
So what?
Yeah, so what? Well, that means you can ask your questions whenever you want and get supported. So what? Well, that means you don't have to spend days feeling icky about a problem you have and you can move forward quicker. So what? Well, that means at the end of the day, you can finish and leave your work in the office and enjoy the time with your family, because that's all we really want, isn't it? So, yeah, I think it's just about pushing it. And I find so what a very useful question for pushing it all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I love to use actually in my copy to help really, link those two things is so that. So it's like you get this so that blah, 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 blah. That's how you kind of link the feature to the benefit. It just those two really simple words that you can add on, and it really helps you to bring that out in what you're writing.
I use which means.
Which means, yeah, exactly, which means. And right. so that you can, what is that thing that they really are wanting it for? Because the thing that I get right up on my high horse about all the time, I'm going to try not to have a rant here, but they're like, no one cares when, you've built your package of what it is and what's included, and that's how you built your pricing, but that's not what you're selling to someone else. And stop trying to sell how you've bundled your service or your package as they'll obviously get why they want 8 calls a month and they're 30 minutes. No one wants that. They actually want a magic pill. If you can give them a pill right now and the problem can be solved in one instant, they don't want to be doing this for 8 calls of 30 minutes long and having, 100 workbooks. I'm like, no one they're thinking that sounds hard, that sounds heavy, that sounds boring. They don't want that, but they might want what it does. What's the benefit? What's the value? What is the outcome they're getting from it? That's what they care about. That's what they're buying. They're not buying the thing. They're buying the thing they get from it. And 99% of what I see, everybody's trying to sell whatever they've created as their bundle, the actual thing. And yeah, this whole conversation is when you actually shift to more the benefit view, it's that is really what they're buying. And it's just how you're delivering it is okay, so once they realize that's what I want, then, okay, well, how am I getting this? How is this actually going to be delivered? Well, that's through the calls or the downloads or the whatever it is. But we really need to be dialing into what it is they actually want, because nobody wants the calls and the worksheets if they can get it in a different way, in a magic pill overnight, which obviously they can't. So we've got to, get them into that place where they're thinking, yeah, I really want this. And, oh, great, those calls are going to be so beneficial to me because I can see why they're important and I can see why they're included. I think as professionals, we understand why they need these things, right? We understand why they've got value, and I think that a lot of the time it's easy to forget the person at the other end may not know why. They might not know why they need that thing, or they might not know why it's included, because they're not coming from the same place that you are. And that's what I think, if we're thinking about the features and benefits, we really have got to imagine they don't know, they don't understand, they're just there. It's the first time they've heard it, and we really got to help them to understand it and think about it in the fact of what it is they're trying to achieve. But something you mentioned just before, I think we should circle back to, and I very much agree with, we don't just start straight away into, okay, here's a sales page, here's the thing, this is what you get. Because it's like, whoa, it's like you've just jumped over quite a few hoops in terms of where we're at. We're not quite ready to get our credit card out and buy something until we're completely into, yes, I understand why I need this and what it's all about. Then that's the how is those features and benefits. So do you want to touch a little bit on what are those top sections in the page? How do we bring people into understanding the why? Why are we even here? What's that about? And help them to feel like this is for them.
Okay. So I kind of break the page down into several chunks. Four key chunks of the page. And I think it's really important to think about that, because when you're writing a sales page, it's not really just about the copy, it's about how it's structured and how the messages are ordered. Classic error is people putting testimonials right at the top of the sales page, providing proof for something that we don't yet understand even what it is. So I basically break the page down into 4 chunks. Number 1 is solving the problem. Number 2 is explaining the product. Number 3 is proof the product works. And number 4 is action to purchase the product. So really, we jumped into part 2 in my world. And part 1 is about solving the problem. So solving the problem is where you have your header image, and your headline. So you pick an image that sums up your products and services or service. And then you pose your headline. I mean, that's the classic, isn't it? Ogilvy says that once someone's read the headline, they've spent 80 cents in the dollar. So 80% of people will read the headline, only 20% of people will read the rest of the page. So it's kind of important. And for me, one of the most powerful ways of doing headlines is to solve a problem or ask a question or address a pain point. So we were talking earlier about how it's not going to appeal to everybody. And you need to do that very quickly. You need to get rid of the people who aren't relevant as quickly as possible. The classic example that my friend Jessie Forrest always uses is, do you have itchy feet? Yeah, question mark. Do you have itchy feet? Now, if you don't have itchy feet, you're gone. Yeah, but if you do, you're nodding. Yes, this page is for me. And the structure that works really well with that headline and that opening is a copywriting formula called PAS, P-A-S. So you start with the problem. Do you have itchy feet? Then you agitate the problem. Agitate. Well, it's awful having itchy feet. It's embarrassing. You're scratching. You feel uncomfortable all day. Your socks get sweaty. It's making your life a nightmare. Yeah. So you take their problem and you show them how bad it's going to get, or how bad it really is. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that people are sitting on the other side going, yeah, it's really awful. And then you offer a solution. Problem, agitate, solution. Well, our new super soft, silky feet powder is going to change your life and make your feet softer than ever before. Yeah, buy now. And that is the classic intro. And once you see that PAS, problem, agitate, solution, you'll see it everywhere. And it's a really simple approach. It gets rid of the people who aren't relevant. It makes them understand their problem, and it positions you as the solution to their problem. So that's always what I have at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really great. And then we've talked about the flow. So you've kind of got the why at the top, like what is this about? Who's it for? Something that I kind of often do, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it, is, who is this for? I tend to kind of really then actually write it on the page, and I often have a who is it not for. So I'm like, self-select yourself out if you're any of these things, because what I find, the reason why I do that is I think people might nod to the, who this is for. But when you put in the who's it not for, it actually helps to solidify like, wow, I'm really not those things. So this must be actually for me. So I love to do the positive and the negative. What are your thoughts on on that.
Absolutely. And, unfortunately, human beings often respond to negative messages more than positive. So positioning what you're not is actually often more powerful than positioning what you are. So, for me, that falls into the middle chunk, my section 2, the explanation of the product. And in there, I usually include key features. So I might take 4 of the best things about my product or service and highlight them. Then I'll do how it works. So what it physically does, is it a service? Is it a product? What are the steps maybe? Then I'll do something like what's included. We talked about that, the features and the benefits and the advantages, and then audience. So that's where we weed out the customers that don't fit. Yeah, we do who it's for and who it's not. And generally the who it's not can be a little bit cheeky. Yeah, so, for my SEO course, it's for people who want to DIY their own SEO. It's for e-commerce store owners. It's for marketeers who want to offer SEO as a service. Who it's not for: snake oil, dodgy SEO people. It's not for people who want a quick result and aren't willing to do the work.
Yeah.
It's not for those who think there's a secret and a magic Google potion that I'm going to give them. So I think you can be slightly playful with the who it's not for.
Yes.
Because obviously you're trying to make the person feel good about the fact that they're not those things. Yeah, but those as well. And then another thing that I put into that middle chunk is my story. Yeah. So I was here, I did this. This is the transformation I saw. So this is it's giving a real life example. It is explaining why I am selling this thing. Who am I to sell this thing? Well, this is why, because I've been where you were, and now I'm here. And if I can do it, you can do it. So all of those for me, the how it works, the key features, what's included, who it's for, who it's not for, and my story go into that central chunk straight after the intro.
Yeah. And is that all before you get to the actual price?
Yes. So we still got another whole section to go. So we now know what it is. We know who it's for. Now we need to prove that it works. This is where the proof goes. And there's lots of different types of proof. The obvious one is testimonials, which are often done really badly. They're done in little rotating things. They're big paragraphs. You just need to stack them on top of each other and have a single line for each testimonial that kind of backs up a single pain point. So, if people's pain point is they don't have enough time, you have one testimonial saying this took no time at all. If someone else's pain point is that they really want some support, you have a testimonial that says, I got so much support. Yeah, so you don't just put them all in, you pick them carefully. So testimonials are great proof. Logos of people you've worked with are great proof. As featured in, positioning you as an expert that other people trust, so you should trust me too. And then case studies are great too. So I often include a few little case studies of previous students who have, or previous people who've used my product, and show the actual story, their story. I'm showing them my story, I show others. So all of those for me go in the proof section. And ideally, results are the gold. If you've got a couple of charts that show someone starting here and ending here, like low to high, and they're powerful as well, because they're really visual. And this is the thing as well with sales pages. Often there's just too much goddamn copy, and we need to just have visual cues rather than written cues. So that all goes in the proof. And then finally, you get the price.
Yes. After you're like, I have absolutely no objection left. I really want this thing. Yeah, absolutely. And then the price. Something that just popped up for me while you were talking about that, I was like, some training that I've done and understanding different types of people and how we think. So I'm a big picture person. I'm like the why person. And so I'll be like the scanner. I don't get into the detail. But then there's some people who are really detailed and they'll read every single word on the page. And this is a funny thing because I get asked this a lot. Some of my clients are like, oh, I hate those sales pages that are really, really long. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're probably like me. You're more of the big picture person. You're going to probably read the top section and about the why. You're going to gloss over a lot of the what. Just look out for the key things. Is this what I expect? And then straight down to, okay, how do I get it? What's the price? Let's do this. But you're not designing a sales page just for you. You're actually building it for all the different types of people. And there are the people, the why people. Then there are the what people. They're really interested in okay, what is this? What is the outcome? They're sort of that next level down. And then the how people want to know exactly how this all works. Okay, I need to know the minute detail of all of this. And then I think the last section, I always think of these people as the ones you do the FAQs for, the what ifs. Like, they're the ones that will be like, oh, this all sounds really great, but what if? And they'll come up with all these random scenarios. And I'm sure, Kate, as you've done so much training and courses, you would always have someone in the room who's that what if person who asks the random question. And you're like, well, in what kind of scenario do you imagine that happening? But I suppose it is possible. Let's talk about it. But, there are those people as well. And we've kind of got to think with our sales page that we're really doing something that is going to help each of them get the information they need to be comfortable in making that decision.
I love that. I love your different types of people. That's a really great way of framing it. Yeah, I mean, there's a copywriting ideology that, the more expensive a product is, the more investment it is, the longer the copy needs to be. So if you're selling a $17 thing, you don't need to write as much as if you're selling a $1,700 thing. So that will lead to the length of the copy. But it's like people saying they don't like pop-ups. Yeah, no one likes them, but they work. And long sales pages work. Because as you've said, some people spend up to like 15 minutes on my sales page reading everything. And usually I think there's a correlation there between where they are in your funnel, where they are in their awareness of you. So, some people come to that page and they convert within minutes because they've followed me for years. They've read my emails. They've seen me at an event. Others who don't know me, they need to read more. They need to understand more. So I love that. And I also like the idea of what you're saying about different brains. For me, FAQs go with pricing. So I have my pricing.
Yeah.
Underneath, I have my FAQs, and then I have my pricing again. And it doesn't, some people think that FAQs are kind of the recourse of a poor writer. Like, surely you should be able to explain it in the copy. Nuh-uh-uh. I, like you, I want to see the price, and I have specific questions that I want answered. For my course, it might be like, well, what days are the calls on? And how do I get access to it? And I don't want to read loads of stuff about that. I just want to go straight to the FAQs. So one other thing we need to remember is it's not just about the different types of people or the investment level or the awareness. It's about how many times they've visited the sales page. And one thing that I really don't like, and this is I'm going to get on my high horse now, is when some entrepreneur types have high ticket offers like masterminds or courses, they switch the sales page off for the majority of the year, or they hide the pricing. And then they launch it, and you only get to see the price and the details for the week that it's launched. And that sends people into a bit of a frenzy. And, maybe they buy and get buyer's regret because they've got this tiny window. They can only visit the page a couple of times and they have to make a decision because it's closing. Oh, my God. I keep my sales page open all year with the pricing visible all year because I appreciate that for lots of people, it's a big investment. And they want to know how much it is so they can save up for it. And they want to come back to the page a couple of times to wrap their head around what they're getting. And for me, that's a kind of transparency. That is, we're talking about being icky.
Yeah.
The other tactic, icky, I find being transparent all year round, unicky. And therefore, I'm not hiding anything. The price isn't going to change tomorrow. The price is the price. And it's going to be the same when you come back tomorrow and the next day. I put it up once a year and I tell everyone I'm putting it up once a year. But for the rest of the time, there's no sneaky deals and it just is what it is. So that's another way to un-ick your sales page as well.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So with that, because I guess like I do have some pages, programs are open because I have a deadline. And the reason why I have one is because I start the live coaching. So
no. I'm not saying not having launches. I have launches. Same thing. And I have finite periods in which you can sign up.
You can. So the page is there, but you just can't sign up.
So you can join the wait list. You can join the wait list and be nurtured and get your questions answered. I'm talking about hiding the price until it's like the day before. And then you've got 3 days to see the price and make your decision. And for me, that just doesn't work for me. I'd rather be transparent. But yeah, totally. I launch. I have evergreen products. I have launch products. And that brings us into scarcity models. And there's about 5 different scarcity models you can use. So me and you are using launch. Yeah, there's a limited period. Yeah, another one would be limited number of people. So I use both of those. There's a limited period and there's only limited a number of people. Those are the 2 ones I use. I don't use early bird, so I don't do any pricing discounts. And I use bonuses, but the bonuses are always there. So it's not like you're going to get a special bonus this round. It is what it is. Other people will use lots of other tactics. So they'll use price and timing and limited numbers and bonuses and I think that can get a bit carried away. Also, I think we see a lot of people saying there are limitations, but in reality there isn't. I'm only taking 20 people, and then you get into the course and there's 72 and you're like, what? Or the course price is only for today. There's a timer counting down, and you go back the next day and the timer's reset. And that is icky. Yes, if you're going to have scarcity, it has to be true scarcity.
Yeah, and there is technology that can help with those things. Like if you're wanting to do something where you give somebody a day, there is some reason, you might be like, well, I'm going to give you a special price if you do that today, but then it's going back to normal. There's something called deadline funnel that you can get that actually tags that person, so they get that price for the amount of time you said, and then it reverts back to normal. And so you're staying within integrity by doing it, because they can't come back to the page and see, oh, well, the time is just reset. So it's always on sale. I think that there's a lot that you can do around it. So it's like when you're choosing anything like that, where you're going to offer a reason why to act now, and maybe you want to do that, it's just making sure that you then, whatever you're saying, you're staying in integrity with. But we all can have mistakes. I've certainly had some mistakes where I've had a program that I had on sale. I meant to take the redirects off and put it back to the normal sales page, and my team, it slipped through the cracks, so it was still live. And then one of my clients found it. She's like, oh, that one, you said that wasn't on sale anymore. I'm like, oh, it's not meant to be. But I'm not there monitoring my website every single day. So look, mistakes can happen, and I think that you've just got to also be like, it's okay to be human. It's okay to be
as long as you were coming from a place of integrity. Gosh, the number of times I've messed up, and maybe I said there were 80 people that could join the course, and 2 people signed up literally at the same time. What do? Do I tell one of them that they can't join? No. Yeah. But I think it's the difference between that sale being still there 3 months later. A couple of days is just humanity. 3 months later, nefarious. But I just think, it's about being, like you said earlier, if you're a person with integrity, you're going to do your best. You're not going to be perfect, but you're going to do your best.
Yeah.
And that will, as you said right at the beginning, and I think it's so true, if you are not an icky person, it's going to be really hard for you to do an icky sales page. It's just, you're actually going to find it a struggle to be icky. And the most thing is to not look at other people's sales pages, because you'll be like, well, she's doing this and she's doing that. But if it doesn't feel right for you, don't do it.
Exactly.
10 spots where you feel great about the price and the people and how you represented yourself, and sell 20 and feel a bit bad about it, So
exactly.
I want to sleep well at night, and that's more important.
Yeah. I think that's what it's all about. It's, what is your intention? Why is this? So what I love to see is, well, if you've got one of these things, like, well, there's only 10 spots. Why is there only 10 spots?
Yes.
If you add that, it stops someone thinking, well, she's just saying that because they're trying to make it scarcity. No, you actually explain that on your page. Like, say, well, there are only 10 spots because I keep this group really intimate so that you each get some of my time. And, and that's something that I do with my VIP program. I'm like, I have a cap on how many spots there are, because I know if there's too many people in the group, they're not going to get the value from it. They're not going to get enough. So I set the pricing at a point that's, doable for me, and that makes sure they, I have a small group. It is premium, it is VIP, and you get the value. You get more than the value of what it is. And that's why I do that. And I think that the thing is here as well, I just want to say, like, when you have that right intention and you're in integrity, there's no harm in using scarcity and urgency to help people make a decision. So I don't want to brandish those things as like, I think don't use them, but like you're saying, use them the right way.
Oh, and I was also saying, don't use all of them.
Yeah, don't use all of them at once. Yeah.
Don't use them, but then not stand true to them. That's what I was saying. I wasn't saying don't use them.
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
I have evergreen courses which run all year round. But, the problem with evergreen is people think, well, it's always there. I'll take it when I'm ready, and they'll never be ready. And sometimes just as humans, why do we have sales? It's exactly the same product, but that tiny little 10% discount suddenly makes us feel like we want to get it. It makes us get off the fence. And that's just human psychology. It's not manipulating people. Again, at the end of the day, if someone sees a reduced price and they decide not to take it, it's up to them. You still, people aren't stupid. And I think people take the integrity thing too far. Like some people are saying, don't do prices like 997. You have to enter zero. I'm like, come on, we've been doing that since the 15th century. That's when, people understand that they're saving 3 cents or $3. They're not stupid. It just is a psychological trick that works. And it's not about being evil or not having integrity. It's just basic sales.
Yes.
I think you can take the integrity thing too far and be a bit like worthy about it. So absolutely. Use scarcity, use bonuses, use timing, use limitations, because that adds value in a way as well, as you just said. So,
Yeah, totally. And that was exactly the point I was trying to make, because I know that some people listening may be reading certain things where people get on their high horse about the 997 thing, or, the countdown timers on the page. It's like, so please don't feel that you can't use any of these things, because they are effective. The reason why people use them is that they're effective. But as Kate said, and as I hope that you're getting this message from this conversation, is there's a way you can use them that is still completely within integrity, and you're not being dodgy or scammy to do it. The fact of the matter is, like, humans often need a reason to buy now, and scarcity and urgency are the two reasons why you might want to buy now and not wait for later. And there's other ways you can do it too. Like, I often will do something where there's a limited time bonus. So, if you buy on the first day, open cart, you get a special extra bonus. And that just helps someone who's ready to go, okay, bang, I really want that thing, and I'm just gonna do it now and not wait until the last minute. Like in my recent launch, I went to bed and the cart was closing overnight. And I was thinking, okay, it's been a strange day. Like usually the last day you'd get people in, and I woke up in the morning and there was sales coming overnight because they're waiting for the last minute. And I'm like, come on, people, like seriously, why wait till the last minute?
Well, and I think the other thing about offering that first day bonus is it actually rewards the really loyal, keen customers who are there for you. They buy on the first day, they get something special, you get reassurance that this thing is going to work. So they deserve extra love. Thank you very much for being first in the queue. I appreciate you. And giving that special gift is fantastic. Other people, so I usually get a lot of sales on day one, a trickle all the way through, and then a lot of sales on the last day. And again, you mentioned countdown timers. I love a countdown timer. It sets my expectation. It lets me know how long I've got. I'm a last minute person. So, it's like that's actually a useful tool. As long as you carefully and it doesn't reset the next day.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, it comes back to something you said before with visual stuff on the page. So the reason why a countdown timer is so good is because it's a visual cue. That's not just words, that actually is showing someone how much time is left when they're not having to read through the copy to see, well, when is this closing? So, using a diagram, using some images, using, all of those different things, thinking about what have I got on the page that's visual. There's a lot of visual people in the world. Like I think a lot of women in particular, because we have a bit of a creative streak, I think in general, most women do. Like a lot of people are very visual. And that's something that I use as a visual cue. And you can have a bit of fun with it. Like I put on my page, Business Jam's not about to blow up, but the doors do close. I'm like, I'm not hiding the fact that I've got a timer on it. I'm going to point it out and have a bit of a laugh about it because, I'm not trying to freak anyone out. It's not going to blow up, the world's not going to explode. But there's a reason why it's there. It's because the doors are closing. And if you want in, then that's the time that you've got, and
I love that. And I love what you just said about you have a bit of fun. And I think this is a great message for everybody. Sales pages are serious. Sales pages can earn you serious money. We all want to go to sleep with the PayPal ping ringing in our ears. My sales page for recipe has earned me nearly $3 million over the years. And that's without any calls. Like I don't get calls. I don't take calls about the calls. It just signs people up. It's been life-changing for me. That has changed my life. I mean, obviously that's revenue. A lot of that goes to the tax man and to my staff and whatever. But still, but I think the important is have some fun with your sales page. It's not so serious. Be playful with the countdown timer, like you've said. Be playful with your who it's not for. Really try and be knowing about your pain points and your insights. Be conversational, be chatty. Use images and iconography. I love iconography. We all love, why are road signs icons, not words? Because we get it quicker. It's cognitively, we process them quicker than we do text. Have some fun and experiment. There is no right way. There is a formula, there's a process, but it's also going to be a lot about you and your personality. People aren't just buying the thing you sell, they're buying you. There are a million coaches. Why would I pick Jessica Osborne? Because I like her. Because I like her tone of voice. I like the cut of her jib. I like her sense of humor, And it doesn't matter how many bloody coaching calls there are. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Right. Well, there's only 9 coaching calls.
Oh my God. I needed 10.
Project that personality as much as you can and have some fun and be playful with your audience. Because at the end of the day, business is serious, but we want to enjoy our day. And I think we underestimate it.
Totally. And I think it's like by doing that, you're actually attracting in your people, your tribe, If they don't like it, good, because if they don't like it, I don't want them to buy, go away. You want the right people in there because they're the ones that are actually going to get the best outcome because, hey, they're going to like listening to you. If you've got training or content, they're going to not be hating the sound of your voice or thinking, well, this girl's a twit, I don't want to listen to her. You want the people in there who actually really, who are your people who
you're going to be spending weeks together. Something came on my SEO course and she said in the thing on my Facebook as you join the group, I was going to sign up to someone else's SEO course, but her voice really annoyed me. And I'm like, that's weird because I think my voice is really annoying. But that was how she'd made the purchase decision. Not the features, the benefits, or the advantage, not who it's for, not what's included, not the FAQs, just that she liked my vibe. And I think we underestimate that. And as you said earlier, the sales page is the end of this. You're not going to get a completely cold lead over the line with even the best sales page. Everything you do to show up before they get to the sales page is really what makes the sale, not the sales page. So although I said that recipe sales page had made me all that money, it's not that. It's the podcast, the speaking event, the Facebook group, the lives, the this, the that I've done for years and years and years that have made that work. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's something really key is anytime you're wanting to sell a program online, a digital product, like you have to be seen as an authority for someone to buy it. So it's the work that you're doing, like your invisible PR and also very visible, but, everything that you're doing is adding to that, credibility, their reputation. And like you say, you don't have to wait years to get there because no doubt, even if you're starting your business, you're coming to it with something. You're not just you're not born yesterday. Like you've got skills, you've got experience. So, really thinking, well, it's about getting clear on who you are, what your value is, what your thing is, and it doesn't matter if your business is new. You're not new. You're an adult. You've got a lot to bring, and you can build credibility really quickly. But when you're getting to what Kate's talking about, when you've got millions of dollars of sales going through a page, yes, that's going to take a bit of time because you're building a reputation, and it's coming organically through all of those things that you've done over the years to get the word out and to reach new people and to speak to them and to bring them into your world. And it just continues to evolve and grow from there. Now, I have a question for you because I think we've talked about a couple of, through our conversation, common mistakes that people make, like doing all of the different scarcity, urgency things, or going straight to the features and not not giving them the background and the prepping and making them feel like they're in the right place first. What would be anything else that you think is a really common mistake people make with their page?
I think the biggest one for me as a copywriter is overwriting the page. When someone's trying to justify them as something they've done and they just keep talking and talking and talking, and the more they talk, the less convinced you are. I think it's lack of confidence that often makes people overwrite the page. You know, you only need to address 2 or 3 pain points. You only need to have one panel about what's included, one panel about who you are, one panel about features and benefits. You don't need to repeat them again and again and again. You know, there's long sales pages, and then there's unnecessarily long sales pages where it just feels like padding. Like you're trying to justify the value by having more copy on the page. So my sales pages evolved over time. You know, it was very short. And the first time I ran my course, I got 20 people. You know, the second time I ran it, I got 17. It went down. It didn't just go up, 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 you know. And I've added things and taken things away. And I'm actually going through the process of trimming my sales page down a little bit now. So I think overwriting is one of them. I think we've talked about scarcity to death, but I think fake scarcity is another. I think having excessive big fat testimonials in some kind of rotating beast.
Yeah, that's a pet peeve of mine. Yeah. I'm like, no one is clicking on that to read through it.
They're only reading the first one.
Like, yeah.
And I think not one thing that really elevates a sales page is a video. And I know people hate making them, but a video of you talking to camera, even just explaining that first problem, agitate, solution. So literally you're reading thought of what you're saying on the page. Hey, do you have itchy feet? I know how that feels. I used to have itchy feet too. And, you know, having a video where someone can see your face, can see you move, can like see if they like the cut of your jib, really, really powerful. And yes, it's going to be awkward and the first few videos you make are going to be wretched. Believe me, I've made some terrible ones. I think video really elevates, and you've got to have those as well. And then not dotting testimonials randomly around the page, but, you know, explaining the problem, saying what's included, then giving proof. You know, people need to know who you are and what you do and who you do it for before they need to know why you do it better than anybody else. There's a flow, yeah? So testimonials come just before the price.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with testimonials, you don't have to literally copy and paste what someone's written, the entire thing, which they've often waffled on and given all sorts of random information that's not really relevant. You don't have to use the whole thing. Like, look at one and go, okay, I really want to use this person because they got a good result, but pick out the punchy bit, pick out that punch. That's the bit you use on the page. Or something I like to use if it's a bit longer, like make that the headline. So many times I see a testimonial and there's either no headline or the person's name is a headline. I'm like, I don't care that Sarah White said this. Like, who's Sarah White? I don't know her unless it's a celebrity. Like, the name is totally irrelevant. Of course you need the name, but the actual bit people want to see is the punchline. So whether it's about the support or the community or the result they got or whatever it is, you know, that's addressing obviously a need or an objection that your people might have, then that's the thing that you want them to see. Like, because we're all scanners and scrollers, we're not going to read every word of the testimonial. So yeah, I think that's another little tip that I love to use that one, and, you know, really bring that out and make that one clear on the page. Yeah, amazing. That is really incredible. I think there's so much that we can do with a sales page, and like you say, they're always evolving. You know, I think, gosh, I think I just need to stop editing the page, stop fiddling with it. I can't help myself. I think every time I look at it, I can see so many ways to make it better. And I probably fall into that category that you just said of maybe writing too much. I think I just tend to write too much everywhere. I love to have the long captions. I just have a lot to say. Maybe I need to shut up. Shut up more. So yeah, like, I mean, I get stuff on the page and I'm going through trying to be critical and actually that, like, what is actually needed here? Am I repeating myself? It's okay to have a bit in there, but where it's getting too much, you know, you're really going to lose people, right? If the flow isn't taking them on to the next bit. It's like, okay, I've got that. Now what's next? So it's great to start off with that high level view, then slowly break down into the more detail as you go down the page, because that's when they're ready for the detail. And jumping straight into detail, it's just, you know, they're not ready for it yet. So you're likely to get them turned off, I think.
Yeah. Often you're not the best judge of what should be on the page. It's so hard. So I use a lot of heat mapping tools to really see where people's eyes are on the page, where they linger. You know, I look at my time on page in Google Analytics. I look at the entry points and exit points. There's an art to this, you know, and it may feel like, yes, you're fiddling, but these are your money pages. These are the pages that are going to make or break your business. So they deserve some fiddling. Much better to invest an hour taking an unemotional view of your sales page than to fanny about on Instagram, because all you need to do is maybe you test out 2 different headlines. A/B testing is really hard, right? Because we want to get software and all of this. So often what I'll do is I'll do a social media post with one headline and then exactly the same social media post with a different headline, or I'll just change the image, or I'll just change the intro. And then the results I get from the social media post, I'll transfer those to my sales page. Like if this headline on this post got loads of likes and engagement, then it's resonating more with my audience. So you can use social media to practice out things, like what's included, the features. Do it as a single social media post. Do people engage with this feature more than this feature? Okay, that goes at the top of your list. So experimentation and tinkering is what it's about, and you'll never finish your sales page, ever.
No, just like with everything, right? Your website, it's never finished. It's an evolution, and I think you can always be feeding back in everything that you're learning from your audience. When people are, like you just said, engaging with you on social, what they're saying, what they're resonating with, and your clients, when they join you, why they joined, and all of those things that they're struggling with. Like I leverage so much from my existing clients of, even just the breakthroughs that they had, or what was powerful for them. And I bring that back into my content, and, they have a giggle sometimes because I might tell an anonymous story and then they hear it and think, oh, that was me. And they have a bit of a laugh, but it's powerful because I'm sharing what is, what they've gone through and what they are benefiting from. And I think when we can incorporate so much of that, it's not just us talking about ourselves. Like, your sales page, it's not me going, oh, I've got this and I've got this great program and I. No, it's all about the person I'm talking to. It's like me going, oh, wow, is this what you're dealing with? I can, I'm going to share that. I'm going to be in empathy with you and that problem because I understand it, been there before, but I'm not telling the story from my point of view. I'm like going, yes, I can see that this is what you're probably going through because, hey, I've been in those shoes too. And that might be that one other thing that's, really talking to you and not talking at somebody or talking about yourself the whole page, because even though it's about your thing, oh my God, it's not about you. It's actually about them. They've got the problem and it's about helping them solve it.
I call that the wee test. You need to test the page for wee. So is it all wee? We do this, I do this, I do this. So it should be less wee and more you. So just go through and even just count the number of times you said I or we and delete them.
Yeah, the I you switch. I love to do that. Like even in your own story, you can start off saying I, and I love to bring the you into it. I'd be like, like when you do this, and it's suddenly you brought you into it, and they're so much more engaged because they're not just sitting there like an audience listening. They're involved in your story. So yeah, there's so much. I think we could talk about this for ages, but thank you so much, Kate, for sharing.
It's great that we actually, often you can get quite conflicting views on this, and that's great sometimes, but I love that we're on the same page, sales page, about so many of these things, because I think it helps really reinforce the argument, so it's great to be agreed with. I love it.
Yes. That's awesome. Well, is there anything that you would love to leave a final tip or piece of advice or something that people could connect if they're interested to get more from you? Where could they find you? What would...
I think we've given so many tips in this episode. I think it's very meaty. If you want to find out more about me, I'll send a couple of links to Jessica. Actually, obviously, let's be honest, I have a course teaching people how to write sales pages. So check out the sales page from my sales page course and see if I've followed all the things that Jessica and I have talked about.
Yeah.
I spent a long time doing it because I was like, gosh, this really has to be the proof of my own pudding, right? So you can find me there. And I also have a little group on Facebook called the Misfit Entrepreneurs, which is quite a silly, fun business group if you want to come and join and talk about business, but also share a lot of memes. That's generally what we do.
Yeah, have a bit of a laugh because it doesn't have to all be serious, does it? Exactly. I love your group and I love the fun that happens in there. So that's great. And I will link up all of those in the show notes for you.
So thank you. Thank you so much, Kate. Thanks for your time. It's been incredible. And yeah, look forward to our next chat.
Yay!
Do you know what the number one challenge reported by the women joining my Facebook community, My Tribe, said that they were struggling with their marketing in 2021? And in fact, even in 2020 as well. And that was exactly how they should reach their ideal client. How do they even get in front of them in order to build their audience in the first place? That was it. And it wasn't a pick and mix. I didn't give them that answer. It was a free text question. So they could write in there anything they wanted at all. And the number of times that I saw somebody say, how to create awareness, how to get in front of my ideal client and build my audience. So many people just challenged by it. And why is that when there's such an abundance of ways that we can get in front of the ideal client? And I think it's probably that is exactly it. It's so overwhelming, isn't it? What should you do? What should you choose? What are the best ways? Whatever it is that you're doing right now might not be working. And I think it's a great time to sit back, reflect, and figure out what's the right way for you to do it. What are the ways that you're going to reach your prospective clients in 2022? So if that sounds like you, if that might have been what you wrote down in the questions on what is your biggest challenge with your marketing currently, then you're going to absolutely love the new freebie that I've just put together for you. It's called 12 Brilliant Ways to Reach Your Ideal Client. And in it, I share with you the 12, in my view, 12 top ways that you could use in your marketing plan this year to reach a bigger, broader audience in order to attract those ideal clients in to your inner circle, into your, really well-defined audience and become real leads for you. So if you'd like to get your hands on this brand new freebie, then all you need to do is go to jessicaosborne.com/12 ways. So it's 12 ways. Very easy. You can download it there. And this is a little bit of great resource for your planning, for the planning of the new year. See what you're going to change up. What is it that you maybe haven't been doing that you could be doing? And what are those things that you've been doing and they're not very effective, and maybe you're going to drop them out of your plan this year? So please head over, grab the freebie. If you want the link, that it's in the show notes, and let's get you moving on up, having more success with your marketing in 2022.